What's up everyone, welcome to another video. In this one I will give you a complete quick guide on pendulums from the Reality Transurfing process, and I will explain it in the easiest way in the most simple terms possible. So I have already done multiple videos on pendulums, but I find that this is the topic out of the Reality Transurfing process which most people have the most difficult time really, getting their mind around, which I understand. It's a difficult topic to really understand because pendulums are purely energy. It's not something that we visibly see in the world, but their effects are something that can be felt by everybody. So this is why I chose to do this video, to break down pendulums in the most simple way possible, tell you what pendulums are, how they influence you, how to be free of them, and how to find positive pendulums that might even benefit you in the future. So let's start with, what is a pendulum? A pendulum is an information structure which is purely energy, and it forms when multiple people come together to think thoughts that are similar in nature, that have a similar frequency. Now, to correct myself, they don't have to necessarily physically come together, but they have to be emitting thought energy that is of a similar frequency. So what happens is, just say there's 4 people, right? And they could be anywhere in the world, but just say these 4 people come together in a room and they're discussing a certain topic, or they're forming an alliance. And now these 4 people are thinking similar thoughts, and they are emitting thought energy of a similar vibrational frequency. All that energy that they are emitting comes together to form a structure of its own. It begins to operate as an entity of its own, and its main initiative is survival, which it gets by constantly feeding on the energies of the people under it. All pendulums have a sole purpose, which is to ensure their survival and to prolong their existence. And they do this by influencing the adherents under it through their thoughts, through their emotions, to try to attract more adherents, to gain more power, and to really survive in the long run. There are pendulums all over society, all over the world. Some are serious, some are not so serious, but they all function in the same way. So for example, there is a pendulum surrounding your family. There is a pendulum surrounding the place where you work, the society that you live in, the economic structure that you are a part of, the country that you live in, the religion that you identify with, the movies that you watch, the celebrities that you love, the music that you listen to, the fashion that you like to follow, the food that you like to eat, the social media platform that you love to use, the diet you choose to follow, the brands that you love, and the sports that you enjoy. Everything in human society has a pendulum around it. Anytime groups of people think thoughts of a similar nature, there is a pendulum that is formed, and it could be around any topic. Your personal energy that you emit through your own being can also form a pendulum that is surrounding your own self, but that is something that we'll discuss in a different video. The pendulum's greatest, most useful tool is importance. The more importance you give to anything, your sports team, your government, your religion, anything, the more importance you give to it, the more you identify with it, the more it has emotional control over you, the more it is able to influence action from you, the more it is able to hook you with your thought energy. For this reason, human society is entirely ruled by pendulums, and all pendulums are destructive because they only care about their own survival and will exploit you and do anything with you to do that, to fulfill their purpose. As we discussed before, some pendulums are serious, some pendulums aren't serious. A pendulum like fashion is not as likely to influence you to hurt someone else for the sake of their survival. But a pendulum like religion, or a pendulum surrounding a country, influences people to go to war all the time or hurt someone else who believes something differently. Not only are pendulums destructive because they influence you to act in a certain way and that can cause conflict in your life, they are also destructive because they make you think thoughts that aren't serving your purpose, that aren't serving your true happiness. So by influencing action through you and making you do things that you normally wouldn't do, they cause you to shift to parallel realities which are not aligned with your true purpose. Pendulums influence you to live a life that is not aligned with your true goals, your true motives, your true happiness. For example, there's a huge pendulum around going to college, then getting a corporate job nowadays. And most people in corporate jobs are absolutely miserable, but they think that was the path for them because, society, ever since they were born, has instilled that idea in their mind. And so throughout their life, they have suppressed their true, desires, their true passions and goals to study a profession that they have absolutely no interest in just for money. Because us human beings give money so much importance, pendulums have great control over us through the use of money. Pendulums are even more influential today with the rise of the information age, where we are constantly exposed to thousands of ads every single day through social media, news, movies, anything. So it's very important for you to keep this knowledge in the back of your mind as you go through your life trying to live your truest life. Pendulums will always try to tug on your emotions through the importance you give to everything, and they will try to influence your thoughts to make you do things that aren't aligned with your your true purposes and your true happiness. So how do pendulums control you? Think about it like this. You're sitting in your living room and you're just listening to music on your laptop. Your sibling in the other room starts blasting music on their speakers. Now the sound coming from your sibling's room is completely taking over the sound coming from your laptop, and soon you can't hear anything other than your sibling's music. Just like that, pendulums create such turbulent thought activity in your mind by tugging on your emotions that the voice of your intuition, your truest self, becomes completely numb. And you start to think that the thoughts that you are thinking are your own thoughts, but they are just an external influence that your mind has been receptive to. When you become hooked on a pendulum, you start vibrating at its frequency. So as long as you are vibrating at its frequency, thinking thoughts that are of a similar frequency as the pendulum, you will continue to sway it, you will continue to give it your energy, and it will continue to control you. So then how can you be free of pendulums? You can't necessarily be entirely free of pendulums. Throughout your life, they will always try to get control over you, but you have to remain in a state of conscious awareness. You have to live with emotional detachment. Everybody that's going through life is always, giving so much importance to something. Maybe it is their loved one. Maybe it is their work. Maybe it is a material object like a car or a house. We're always giving excess importance to things, and the more importance that you give anything, the more control it will have over you. So the best way to reduce the effect of pendulums in your life is to stop giving everything so much importance and live with emotional detachment. Go through life knowing that nothing is necessarily amazing or really bad. Just enjoy everything. However, keep this distance from your internal state and the actual thing. Don't let it control your emotions. Know that anytime you have become really emotionally triggered by something, it is a pendulum that is affecting your thoughts. It is a pendulum that is affecting your state of being. Another way is to not give pendulums your energy voluntarily. Identify whenever you are being confronted by a pendulum. For example, if you're watching the news, and first of all, don't even watch the news, but just say you are watching the news and you just heard about a really negative story. Don't react to it, just ignore it and switch the channel to something more positive, or go do something else. Don't avoid the pendulum, don't go out of your way to be free of these things. However, just don't react emotionally to anything. Just ignore certain things that try to tug on your emotional strings. Don't give them any place in your life. Walk by indifferently. Next, don't identify strongly with anything. Your religion, your race, the gym that you go to, the movies that you love. Don't identify strongly with anything. Understand that you have your interests and other people have their interests. You're not right and they're not right, but you guys aren't wrong either. If you don't identify strongly with anything that you are doing in this world, nothing will have control over you, and you can live freely and exercise your freedom of choice. And lastly, reduce the amount of stimulants that you expose yourself to. Don't be always on social media. You know how many ads are on social media that are constantly playing in your mind even after you have put down your phone? Everything is always trying to stimulate your brain and influence your behavior. The things that you watch, the music that you listen to, be mindful of it. It's not that you don't have to engage in any of it, but keep it under control, and don't give importance to any of the things that you become exposed to. Reduce the amount of stimulants and really try to tune into your intuition. That is the thing that is going to make you truly happy. Not all these quick stimulants that give you kind of quick gratification or something. Now, lastly, are all pendulums really bad for you? Are they all destructive? Well, yes, all pendulums are destructive, but you can find pendulums that serve your goals. For this, you really have to find your own true goal. Really intuitively feel what you want to do, what you are passionate about, what you really love, and start pursuing it. And what will happen is, on the way, you will find certain pendulums that serve your purpose. Some pendulums can be beneficial for you. For example, the self-betterment pendulum. Now in media and all throughout social media and YouTube, there is a huge self-betterment pendulum, which there's so many channels, including this one, which we talk about how to improve your life. That also has a pendulum around it. It can be beneficial to you because it will influence your thoughts in a positive way, but just always be careful. Don't ever identify with certain YouTube channels. Don't identify with certain philosophies. Understand that everything has its place in the world, and nothing is right or wrong. Also, another example of a beneficial pendulum could be a business mastermind. So the idea of from Think and Grow Rich, of a business mastermind where groups of people come together for the sole purpose of benefiting the entire group. This is used in corporate companies and governments and everywhere all the time, where people come together and they try to think of ways to become better people. And what happens is, as they come together for the similar purpose of becoming better people, the pendulum influences all of them and accelerates their growth more than they could on their own. Again, you just have to be very careful with pendulums. Just don't identify with them, and don't give too much importance to whatever you are a part of. If you live in emotional detachment, if you constantly watch how much importance you are attributing to everything in your life as you go about your life, you will generally be fine with pendulums. You don't always have to identify what pendulum is pulling on your emotional strings. Just know that all conflict in your life, all irritations, frustration, anytime you experience any of those, you are coming into contact with a pendulum. And the best way to completely let go of it is to act in a way that it is not expecting you to act. So usually when we are getting irritated or frustrated, it ends up in us really angry or sad. Instead, react the opposite way. Whenever something isn't working out for you, laugh at its face, have a sense of humor. Remain light. Keep this emotional lightness within you. Having a sense of humor will go a long way, and just laugh at the face of a pendulum. If you have any more pendulum questions, post them in the comments below and I'll do more videos on them. I know it's a topic that can be talked about forever. That's all for this video though. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Share this video with a friend who would also find it helpful. If you need help applying these principles into your life, if you are having problems in certain areas of your life, you can now work with me one-on-one. The coaching link is in the description box below. Other than that, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.